Bitcoin and financial control, media manipulation, and state corporate overreach, which is nothing new. Today's first story, 2.13 billion Bitcoin buy. That's right. In the past 8 days, the Bitcoin whale strategy buys 2.13 billion in Bitcoin. Why is that trending? Why such a massive accumulation during a market pullback? Well, that's interesting. And market volatility, well, that makes big buys and headline news. It's not new. We've seen other state sponsors, for example, Japan and Venezuela, and a few others make large purchases. But it's an interesting time to be doing that. What they're not telling us is deep pocket accumulation can centralize the supply. That's right. And centralization is what Bitcoin was supposed to be not about. A big buyer using share assurance may expose financial stress, one of the reasons why you've seen a lot of volatility and fluctuations in the financial market and Bitcoin. But who will benefit and who will lose? Well, it'll benefit the large holders and whale psychology, but the losers will be the retail traders that have been misled by price action. The retail traders, they're not the whales, they're the in-between. So my take on this is when a corporate entity buys billions on a dip, the narrative isn't bullish, it's a psychological control, and price becomes secondary to that perception. Now we would wonder is when whales buy and retail watches, mass accumulation can centralize what Bitcoin was supposed to decentralize. So this move tells emotion possibly more than direction. The question I would have then is, does a corporate whale buy help decentralization or just pretend to? It's okay to comment and let me know your thoughts on this. I do want to say this and point it out. Saylor is truthful to himself. His actions match his claims. He's what we would call all in. There have been other Bitcoin gurus that in the past several years have not only lied, but have misled many people. People into purchasing Bitcoin with false beliefs, and then right before a giant dip, they had inside knowledge and they pulled out. What are your thoughts on that one? Second story we have today is AI-driven scams hit record level. Really? Now, experts
are saying that crypto scams stole $17 billion in 2025. Due to AI-enabled operations,
skyrocketing the capability. So AI tools enable
automated, scalable fraud.
And scammers mix impersonation, phishing, and automation. This is also true. We all remember Captain Crunch, or at least maybe some of us, and some of us may remember war driving with skateboards and Wi-Fi's in our backpacks. But we did it for fun. We didn't do any harm. We just went Easter egg hunting. So war driving can be fun, and hacking can be a very useful and fun skill, and especially for those who are intelligent and like to show that they can solve puzzles. But here is the thing. There's a difference between individuals or groups doing things for fun and state-sponsored attacks, and with automation comes scalability. Ability to do so many attacks so fast. So what does that mean? Well, AI scale doesn't just increase efficiency. It means it industrializes, and it industrializes on trust exploitation. So this is kind of a more serious matter in my opinion, because let's be honest, hacking, lying, stealing, that's been around for ages. However, the scale that it's at now and the manipulation has now changed trust, possibly human trust, to a condition now that may become more permanent. That is not good. That causes us to lose some of our humanity. Well, what little bit is left. Here's the other thing though. There are winners in this game. They just don't happen to be us, not you and I. The winners happen to be social platforms. That's right. Social platforms benefit from increased engagement. Didn't think of that one? Yes. Well, increased engagement is how they get paid, and with ad revenue. So even when scams spike, it's still seen as engagement. So platforms that monetize engagement will win this war, while the losers will be the individuals and the regulators who chase shadows. My take, AI hasn't made scams smarter, it's made humans trust more exploitable. The tech doesn't fail, we just simply fail to frame the risk. Let's change the scene a little bit. AI isn't the cause, it's the multiplier of fraud. Remember, AI is a tool, like every other tool. It's the hand that wields the tool that decides. And unfortunately, AI is not in our hand. AI is in the hands of the most powerful controlling people in the world. So, of course, they have our best interests in mind, just like our government. Trust isn't a vulnerability, it's a battleground. That's what this has become. We all have to protect our relationships. We all have to protect our trust. And there's also many, many layers when we bring technology into it. And scams will continue to leverage familiarity, not fear. If AI is inherently dangerous, well, should we leave it unregulated? Comment below. Our next topic, cloud malware and Copilot data leaks. As I recall, I've been telling many people I stopped using Microsoft several years ago. And here's why. Microsoft uses your information, and it uses it in many ways you would not want them to. They also sell your information to the government and other parties. Once you mix that with AI, now we may have some particular interesting problems. When you are a business, a company, or you have intellectual property, IP for example, or you trust, let's say, Copilot with secrets or personal information, you're putting yourself at risk for if that information were to leak out. Not to mention it's already leaked to the government and whatever plans that they may have for you. That being said, the new VoidLink malware targeted cloud systems. AI assistants spilled sensitive data. Security researchers spotlight how cloud and AI has risks. Really? That's a spotlight all of a sudden. Headline news. There could be security risk with the cloud. Interesting. New to me. So, but what they're not telling you on a deeper level is cloud infrastructure just isn't compromised. It's strategically targetable. More on that one. Actually, I think I'll do a whole segment, to be honest, because AI assistance could be just the pivot point for a much broader breach. And who will benefit from this? Well, the threat actors in this one. Those that innovate faster than a defender. And my opinion on that? Well, I think innovation's good. But again, similar to my memories of skateboards and Wi-Fis and backpacks, we didn't do any harm. It's fun to crack. It's fun to fish. It's fun to freak. These are all fun, but they're also necessary skills that we should develop, but not at the expense and harm to others. Now, the losers of this game, though, are the enterprises that are overconfident in AI tooling. I may not have sympathy for those. Malware like VoidLink is more than code. It's infrastructure warfare against trust and cloud security. Cloud is now the new frontier. Attackers have already lived there for a decade, though. And AI assistants don't just assist now, they leak. Security needs to be baked in, not baked out. So is cloud security an illusion, or is it really a strategy? Cloud security, from my experience, can work, but it's more involved than just one bolt-on part. Now, bringing us to our next story, fake ads and fake trust. How have you been? How was your day? Let me go back to that. Now, story number 4, fake ads. Fake trust. This is something that is important to me. The dehumanization of us. I remember Star Trek. It was a theatrical parody. And although it was fun with science fiction, spaceships, and Captain Kirk, beautiful women, and the adventures of space, in that show, you had different characters. Each one of those characters represented a different aspect of a person. In other words, not one of them was a full and complete person individually on their own, but all of them combined made a fully functional person. And McCoy is the one who played humanity. I didn't always agree with what he was doing on the show, but now that I've learned more and I have a little bit more wisdom, very little, I'm not domesticated yet still, I can now see clearly how humanity is an important part of who we are in our fabric and our culture. As we erode trust between humans, trust with our tools, because computers are tools for us, then we start to build up different walls because we realize we're in a battle. We begin to lose some of those aspects and parts of us that are human, that make up the best part of being human, that humanity. Unfortunately, it is the lack of humanity where we start seeing things that we would rather not see. And we see crimes that are committed, and we see states commit crimes, and groups commit crimes, all because of a loss of humanity. That said, the cyber threat report of fake ads and deepfake scams shows that they dominated social feeds. Once again, social platforms. Well, cybercrime blends into everyday browsing now. Social apps have become scam conduits, if you will. What they're not telling us is that platforms hate losing engagement dollars. Remember how platforms get their money through engagement because they have ads and advertisers who pay for that engagement. So even scams are seen as engagement. Scams optimized for the platform's trust signals, not just clicks, make money. So who benefits? Well, the algorithm that monetizes attention. And who loses? Again, the everyday user scrolling blindly. So fake ads aren't accidents. They're optimized economic vectors, built to look normal until it's too late. Scams look like ads because ecosystems made them so. Engagement isn't safety, it's fuel. And your scroll is unfortunately the attack surface. This is why I don't scroll. Now, a question I would have is this: would you trust an ad if it never appeared on a big tech feed? So for example, an ad that would appear inside, say, Facebook, or an ad in Instagram, or some type of big tech feed that already innately you may feel has trust, versus if you found it on some random site somewhere. Let me know. Meta currently faces global privacy and content enforcement scrutiny, and this is mainly dealing with the fake complaints, of course, and we've seen that with Twitter as well. But specifically on the gambling ads, this has affected many streamers because many streamers were partnered with Kick and partnered with Stake, and they are both part of the same economic bundle there, if you will, the same head of state. Governments are pushing platforms and basically trying to push not privacy rule content, their narratives, policies. Regulators, of course, don't want safety. This pressure is coming from multiple directions. Policymakers, policyholders, platforms are often chasing liability, not safety. Lines get drawn, and we don't know what those lines were originally drawn for, or will they'll end up, but we do know one thing: they usually don't get pulled back. So who will benefit from this? Well, regulators claiming moral cover. And who will lose? Users that are caught between enforcement and censorship. Privacy battles are proxies, but they're proxies for who writes the rules of public reality, not privacy rulebooks. They're narratives of power. Regulators don't want safety, they want control. I'll repeat that again. Regulators, they don't want safety, they want control. Historical facts will show us that. So platforms enforce rules, but they pick the winners. And content laws shape thought, not just behavior. Is content governance about safety, or do you believe it's a narrative of power? Let me know, and we can take a deeper dive later. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Let me know in any kind of comments what you'd like to take a deeper dive on. Thank you. I hope it's been revealing for you. More of the truth later. More of the truth later.